The Ottawa Hospital, and delighted to be joined today by some special guests. We have, of course, with us Cam Love, where's Cam? He's in the back there, our President and CEO of the Ottawa Hospital. Delighted, of course, to be joined as well by Mayor Watson and our very special guest here in Ottawa today, Premier Ford. Premier, welcome back to Ottawa. My name is Jeremy Roberts. I have the pleasure of serving as the Member of Provincial Parliament for Ottawa West Nepean and the Parliamentary Assistant for the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services. I had the privilege to be elected back in 2018 as part of Premier Ford's team. And I remember very distinctly one of our first caucus meetings where all of our new Progressive Conservative team got together and Premier Ford talked to us. And the one message that the Premier kept reinforcing to the team is that over the course of our term in office, we needed to focus on local priorities, that was what was going to be a measure of success for us as a government, is if each of us as local representatives for our community could deliver and make sure that we were making our communities a better place. And that's something that Premier Ford has practiced as well as preached throughout his career in public service. And I'm proud to report that as a member of Premier Ford's Ottawa team, we have had a number of phenomenal announcements over the past 3 years in terms of provincial investments here in Ottawa. Just this past year, we had an investment of $9 million to expand and renovate the mental health unit at the Queensway Carleton Hospital. We had the commitment in our budget to build CHEO's new One Door for Care unit, a brand new facility that is going to help support kids with mental health, special needs, and rehabilitative care needs. It's going to support over 40,000 kids, and it's going to be right over next to where we are today over at the Children's Hospital. We've seen investments for 254 new hospital beds to support throughout COVID across the Ottawa area, not to mention hundreds of new long-term care beds that are on their way to support our seniors. Our team in Ottawa is going to continue to fight for the priorities of Ottawa, and we have a phenomenal ally in Premier Ford who is continuing to make sure that each of us can succeed in our work representing our communities. And that's why I'm delighted to be able to welcome the Premier to the podium today to make a truly fantastic another announcement for Ottawa in terms of how we're going to continue to support our healthcare services. You know, we had the chance just a moment ago to tour through the hospital and chat with a number of the wonderful staff here at the hospital, whether they were nurses, doctors, janitorial staff, the whole gambit. And as the Premier rightly notes, these are the heroes that have helped us get through this pandemic, and we want to make sure that we are continuing to be there for them in the years ahead. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our wonderful special guest, my friend and my leader, Premier Ford. Thank you, Premier.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for that kind of introduction, Jeremy. And you're an Jeremy. I always say we have an all-star team, but he's one of the all-stars and an absolute champion for his constituents. And like Jeremy said, nothing's more important than the constituents of a member. So we also have some great members here in Ottawa. Lisa, Marilee, and Goldie, they're out there working hard. So we have a great team here in Ottawa. And it's great to be with the Friends of Ottawa. Every time I come here, I have an incredible day or a couple days. And I'm so glad to be here at the Ottawa Hospital in the nation's capital, including Cam Love. Cam, you've led the way right from the get-go, the great CEO and president of the Ottawa Hospital. And Mayor, you've done an incredible job. You've led the way as well. So thank you for the great work that you both have done. And as I mentioned, one of my most favorite spots anywhere to go to, it's Ottawa, and you can't ask for any better weather than we see today. I want to send out my heartfelt thank you to all the staff here at the Ottawa Hospital. Had an opportunity to meet some of them and thank them personally right across the board. And they're the true champions who have worked tirelessly to care for and keep people safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. You truly are heroes, and we can't thank you enough for your dedication. And these folks throughout the last 18 months, they have put the care of the people of Ontario and here in Ottawa and the hospitals ahead of their own families. So again, thank you. I also want to thank all the Ontarians for getting out there and getting the shot in their arms. And as the Mayor mentioned, and congratulations to the team and yourself, Mayor, they're leading Ontario for kids over 12 years old, and that's an accomplishment in itself. Over 18 million doses have been administered in Ontario, with over 7.9 million Ontarians fully vaccinated. And any person that has ended up getting a vaccination, you can see what a well-oiled machine is running, and that again goes back to the frontline healthcare workers right across the province at these vac centers. We said from day one that we would help our hospitals and would always have their backs. Today, we're announcing $16.9 million in additional operating funding beginning in 2021-22 to provide continued support for high quality and timely access to healthcare during this pandemic and into the future. This investment is a 2.2% increase to the base and one-time funding of over $760 million that the Ottawa Hospital received last year. For the third straight year, our government is increasing investments in hospitals across the province, taking action to end hallway health care and address challenges created by the COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, in our 2021 budget, we outlined a total of $1.8 billion in additional investments for hospitals in, again, 2021-22. But that's not all. We recently announced $35 million in funding to get more students signing up for nursing education programs at colleges and universities across Ontario. And for any of the students listening, thank you. What a great career. It's not even a job, it's a passion. And you'll really be helping our great province out. It's part of our broader push to train over 2,000 more nurses across our province, which will also include supports for clinical education placements for nursing graduates and personal support workers in long-term care. That's great news for Ontario's healthcare system. Friends, together we've come so far. And thanks to the tireless efforts of our frontline healthcare heroes and every Ontarian who's rolled up their sleeve, we've been able to safely reopen the province. Friends, the best way to protect yourself, your loved ones, is to roll up your sleeve. If you haven't already, please get vaccinated. And if you have concerns, please talk to your doctor or local pharmacist or other healthcare professionals. To keep our hard-fought progress, we need as many people as possible to get their shots. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now, I'll hand it over to a true champion, Cam Love, CEO of the Ottawa Hospital.
Thank you, Premier, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Ottawa Hospital. Bonjour à tous et bienvenue à l'hôpital d'Ottawa. I first want to start by thanking Premier Ford, Parliamentary Assistant Jeremy Roberts, and Mayor Watson for joining us here today. You know, as you look back over the last year and a half, we've had some really challenging times for all of us. And in particular, our healthcare system has been challenged in ways that we have never experienced in the past. However, throughout this entire thing, healthcare workers at the Ottawa Hospital and all across this province have worked tirelessly to care for patients in their greatest time of need. Physicians, nurses, support staff, and all healthcare workers are dedicated, hardworking, and compassionate people that ensured our community continues to have access to healthcare services 24/7. But as we move forward, it's necessary that we have funding needed to provide healthcare to our healthcare teams with resources so that they can have tools and the necessary equipment to continue to maintain those services. That is why today's announcement is such great news. And I really want to thank Premier Ford and his Ontario government team, not only for the funding that is being provided today, but for their unwavering support and leadership through this entire pandemic. This funding will go a long way to allowing healthcare workers to manage the challenges of COVID-19 and how they have presented, but also how we plan to recover heading into the coming year. There is no question the pandemic has created a number of system challenges for our healthcare system. And one of the greatest concerns is the backlog of surgeries and procedures that has occurred through waves 2 and 3. Restoring and increasing surgical capacity is a top priority, not only for the Ottawa Hospital, but for this government and hospitals all across this province. And today's funding will allow us to continue to improve access to surgical services for our patients and families in this region. While 2021, it will not be a year that will soon be forgot, but there is light at the end of this tunnel. And I am really confident that we are starting to round a corner and we will get this pandemic behind us over the coming months and year. As you look in this city, in this region and across the province, vaccines continue to roll out throughout the province. And this is helping us to drop our COVID rates within hospital and our daily cases within this community. And while we're not fully out of the woods, we can definitely be optimistic that the future is bright, with better days ahead, a return to normalcy, and a full recovery of our healthcare system that will allow us to continue in building and expanding on the world-class programs that we offer here at the Ottawa Hospital. So on behalf of the Ottawa Hospital, I want to thank you for being here today, and I'll turn it over now to Mayor Watson.
Well, thank you very much. Bonjour tout le monde. Merci pour l'invitation. My thanks to Premier Ford for being here today and for your strong commitment to quality health care in our community. I'd also like to recognize my MPP, Jeremy Roberts from Ottawa West Nepean, and Cameron Love, the CEO of the Ottawa Hospital. As you know, the Ottawa Hospital is a global leader in healthcare research and education. Today's funding announcement of $16 million for the Ottawa Hospital is an important milestone in ensuring quality care for our residents and continuing to address the many challenges created by the COVID-19 pandemic. This investment ensures our publicly funded hospital can keep pace with patient needs while improving access to high-quality care for patients and families right across the region, because the Ottawa Hospital doesn't just serve Ottawa residents, it serves all of Eastern Ontario. The pandemic is certainly not over, as we see in other jurisdictions like Florida, but we continue to make great progress in Ottawa in terms of high vaccination rates, low hospitalization rates, and other key public health indicators. La COVID-19 a créé une pression croissante sur le système de santé et l'hôpital d'Ottawa s'est mobilisé pour répondre à la crise. This additional funding will support the excellent work of the Ottawa Hospital and help to ensure the sustainability of quality health care in Ottawa. I want to thank our partners at TOH for your incredible work over the last 16 months and for your dedication to the health and care of patients during this difficult time. TOH staff, and the Premier and I had a chance to say thank you to some of the staff up on the 6th floor, have helped us through the darkest days of the pandemic, and we are seeing encouraging signs in Ottawa with much lower hospitalization rates. In fact, just this past weekend, we're proud of this, Ottawa surpassed 70% of adults that have received both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. Not only do we have one of the largest percentages of adults vaccinated in Ontario, but we're also leaders in vaccine coverage for the 12 to 17 age group. Il n'y a aucun doute qu'on peut encore une fois sentir l'énergie dans notre ville alors que nous commençons à voir un retour à la normale ici à Ottawa et certainement dans tout notre pays. My thanks to the Premier and MPP Roberts and for your announcement today, and a very sincere thanks to the great leadership and staff of the Ottawa Hospital for your incredible work. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Before we take questions, just a reminder to our media friends here today, it's one question, one follow-up. We'll try our best to get to everyone. So with that, we'll get started with some questions.
Great. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, Premier. Nice to meet you. Chris Rance with the CBC. You hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, I have two separate questions,
Sure.
two separate subjects. The first one is about the fires in northwestern Ontario. I was up there last 2 weeks. Sometimes you couldn't see as far as the helipad and over there. And there are about 5 communities that have been either partially or fully evacuated. The First Nations up there and the official opposition, the NDP, want you to declare a state of emergency so they can get more boots on the ground, more things to be done to help fight the fires. What will it take to declare a state of emergency, and why have you not called it yet?
Well, first of all, we're throwing every single resource we have up there, and I want to thank the federal government for putting resources as well. I'm on a daily call with Minister Rickford, getting briefed. I've talked to chiefs up there. I've also talked to mayors as well. I'm heading up there Wednesday to the command center in Thunder Bay, but anything they need, they're going to get. I will spare no expense and we'll make sure that the resources will always continue until we get these fires underway.
Second subject, Premier, thank you very much for
Thank
that,
you.
is vaccine hesitancy. The numbers I read this morning said about 70% of Ontarians have 2 doses. That's the numbers I've seen. But what will it take to get the last 20-30% of Ontarians to get the jab? What will you do to help to bridge the divide to get people to get the second?
Well, if anyone has any hesitancy, I really encourage them, speak to their doctor, speak to a health professional, speak to a pharmacist. We're very, very close to our target of 80% of the first doses. I think it was 79.6 or 7, so we'll be over that today. And then what I get really excited about is when I look at the numbers and I still see people getting their first dose, which is good. And but we have to hit our target of 75%. Again, I've been saying from day one, you might be hesitant. Think of your loved ones. Think of your children. Think of your parents. Think of your friends, your co-workers. It's absolutely critical, and I encourage everyone, please go out there. It's proven it works. If it wasn't proven, okay, we'd have an argument, but it's proven it's worked. That's the reason we're getting out of this pandemic, because of the vaccinations and the great job folks like Cam Love and his team and other people like Cam right across our province. And the vaccination centers are just incredible. What a well-oiled machine they have out there. So again, thank you to the healthcare workers for doing everything you're doing.
Thank you, Premier.
Hi.
Elizabeth Payne with the Ottawa Citizen.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi. There are growing calls for mandatory vaccination for healthcare workers. I'm looking for a comment from you on that. Is that something that you want to see, and if not, why not?
Well, just speaking to the Cam Love, I think it was at 98 or 99% of the docs, and the nurses 90.
Just about 90%, 87, 90%.
Yeah, but a little over 90%. And we just encourage them to get a vaccination. I just don't believe in forcing anyone to get a vaccination that doesn't want it. I'm up here literally preaching, begging, pleading every single day since the beginning of this pandemic, and especially since we have these vaccinations. So folks, if you're in the healthcare industry, please just go and get a vaccination. But the numbers I'm hearing are in the low to high 90s. So thank you for all the healthcare workers for getting a vaccination.
My second question, the largest hospital network in the province, I believe UHN,
Yes.
has a new rule where people who are health workers and staff not vaccinated have to present a negative COVID test within 48 hours to go to work. Do you support that?
I do, and I have a great deal of respect for Kevin Smith, who runs, he's CEO of UHN. As I say, I've probably 5 or 6 of that CEOs I'm always in contact with, and Cam, along with Kevin Smith, is one of them, and he's doing the right thing. And also, you know, if you aren't getting it, you know, I understand some of the hospitals have an education video that you need to watch, but these are really, really smart people. They know the right from wrong, and I just encourage them to please just get vaccinated. There's very few of them, but still, we would love to see 100%.
Can I just clarify that
Yeah.
last question? Do you want other hospitals to do the same? To
Well, I don't dictate to the hospitals. They're more than capable to run their own operations or big operations, and I have all the confidence in the CEOs running them. They'll make the right decision for their team members.
Brian Mullen, Global News.
Hi, Brian.
Premier, schools will reopen in a matter of weeks. Parents and educators are looking for certainty. Why haven't you released a plan yet?
Well, I was going to call him Dr. Lecce, Minister Lecce. He's working with Dr. Moore to come up with a strong plan, and it's going to be out very, very shortly. We're going to make sure the kids are going back to school in September. They're going to be in class. I want to repeat that. They're going back, even if I have to hop in that school bus and drive them myself. The kids are going to be going back to school, and it's going to be a great, comprehensive plan.
On a separate matter, when will there be more details on what comes after step 3? Shouldn't businesses be able to see what the plan is when it comes to possible case rises, or what they'll be able to do after the vaccine thresholds are met?
Well, Dr. Moore will be rolling that out very shortly. We want to hit our targets of 80% first dose, 75% second, and he's you know, really the protocols for most of them, they're gone, to the exception of maybe a few he may want to keep in place. but for the most part, everyone's worked hard, and we're going to move beyond this and start working on the economy.
Hi, Mr. Premier.
Hi.
Eric O'Brien, City News.
Hey.
My question is actually a follow-up on the mandatory testing before heading into work.
Yeah.
Is your government looking to do something similar for teachers as we head into the next school year, or even staff in schools?
Well, Minister Lecce will be speaking to the unions regarding that. I'm just hoping the vast majority, hopefully 100% of all the teachers are going to get vaccinated. I really encourage our teachers. They've done a great job. Please get vaccinated, and we'll be working with the teachers' unions on that.
Thank you. My follow-up is actually for Mayor Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I don't think we've heard you yet on your position on demanding mandatory vaccinations for healthcare workers and teachers. I'd just like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that really is something I haven't spent a lot of time focusing on. My preoccupation has been getting needles in arms and dealing with Ottawa Public Health and ensuring that we have as many people vaccinated as possible. And as the Premier said, really it's in everyone's self-interest, and it's also in the public interest to get vaccinated, both in terms of protecting you and protecting your loved ones. So my view is that the best route out of COVID-19 is getting vaccinated, whether you work in a hospital setting or a church setting or religious setting. Our numbers are going very well, and that's my message to the people of Ottawa. Get vaccinated. The sooner the better, and it gives you greater peace of mind and your loved ones as well. Thank you.
Bonjour, Laurie Trudel de Radio-Canada. Two questions for Premier Ford.
Yes.
Firstly, we would like to know your government position about offering a third dose for a COVID-19 vaccine for a certain group of people. We heard other jurisdictions thinking about that, so what's your position about that?
Again, I'll sit down with the Chief Medical Officer and all the health specialists that advise us, and you're more or less talking about a booster shot. So we'll have that discussion, and let's just first get over our first hurdle. Let's hit our 80% and 75%, and let's get this economy moving. And folks, I'll tell you, let me mention something about the economy. I've been speaking to small, medium, large restaurant owners, and Mayor, I'm sure you're hearing the same thing, everything from a donut shop. Folks, we need to get back to work. They cannot keep their restaurants open because people just aren't coming back. So we need to get back working and creating opportunities and prosperity for everyone.
Thank you. My second question
Yes.
will be about this announcement today. You talk about some money for the Ottawa Hospital and other hospitals across the province. I just want to clarify, is it new funding or it was money that you already keep in mind when you did your last budget?
It's over and on top of our previous year. So they're going to receive another $16.9 million, 778 million over last year. So we're going to focus on making sure that we fund the hospitals. For years under previous governments, not just one political stripe, many have been ignored the hospital and infrastructure. We're going to put $144 billion into building new hospitals, new schools, new universities, colleges right across this province, building bridges and roads and tunnels and subways and transportation. So it's a real great plan with Infrastructure Ontario. They're doing a fabulous job, and we're working hand in hand with Cam Love on his project here in Ottawa. But again, I want to thank the people of Ottawa, and for all the people around Ontario, if you have not been to Ottawa, please come. Put the kids in the car, pack up, and come to Ottawa. It's one of the most beautiful cities anywhere in the country, and you'll have a great time. Go to many places, and this is just an incredible place to visit. So please come to Ottawa. Thank you. Merci.
This will be our final reporter.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Ford. Jean-François Dugas with La Droite.
Jean-François.
Not Emily, but JF today. You know, on the Quebec side, they're talking about doing that passport for vaccination if there's outbreaks in restaurants, non-essential areas. So since we're like Ottawa and Gatineau are one against the other, what's the plan for Ontarians who are going the other side? Will they need a certain certification or?
Well, I've always said right from the get-go, first of all, everyone has certification with the vaccine when they get it.
Right.
But as for a passport, that's up to the federal government. And I'm sure they're working on it. They're working on it across the country if someone's traveling. But again, that's up to the government. I think I've been pretty clear. And our Chief Medical Officer of Ontario, Dr. Moore, it's just not needed. So we're going to have people 80%, hopefully fully vaccinated, and we just don't need it. I don't believe in it. I know Israel tried that and it failed. So
This will be our last question.
So, like, just to clarify, so if Prime Minister Trudeau says we're going with a cross-country passport, would you jump on board, or would you show some?
No, well, again, we've been working hand in hand with the federal government, but I just don't believe in a vaccine certification, and neither does our Chief Medical Officer. If the federal government wants to come out with a passport for people that want to head down south to Florida or in the U.S. or over to Europe, that's going to be up to the federal government. And I'm not going to balk at that. That's their jurisdiction, and they'll more than willing to do that.
Thanks, everyone.
So thanks, everyone. You take care. Have a great day.